Chalo. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we are live now. Hello everyone for joining us today and welcome to Learn and Code supported by Newton School. Today we have a very special guest with us, Garvitraj, and we will be discussing about the power of no-code tools. So this video is for everyone who wants to build something, build a software, and they don't know about coding and all the stuff, but they have a very good idea. And if you want to implement that idea, you don't need to wait for, first learn coding and then start implementing it. There are tools which will help you to build your project from the scratch. So today we will be discussing about all such tools and how you can leverage them. So welcome here, Garvit, and thank you so much for giving us your time. And now I will hand over mic to you to introduce yourself.
So, hi Rishika, thank you for this, like bringing me on Learn and then Code YouTube channel, and it's like a very great initiative that you are taking forward along with Newton School, and like it's really very great. Like you have been like I've seen your YouTube journey from a quite long different time, and I'm observing ki you are like really mentoring a lot to the kids there out, those who really need the support and educational content that are required for them. So let me first start with my introduction. So as she said, my name is Garvitraj and currently I'm the web product lead at 𝐏𝐚𝐲. So 𝐏𝐚𝐲 is basically a startup of 𝐏𝐴𝐚𝐲. So I'm completely leading the web product portion, and why I have been called to this session so-called no code. So no code is the technology that I have been working from past 2 years as of now, along with different startup. I've been consulting startup around how they can build their first product, MVP product that you might have heard of on no code. So by profession, I'm a product designer and a no code developer. So for me, it's has been like 4 years in entrepreneurship and startup culture, and no code community. I've been a part of 2 years. So thank you, Rishika, again for bringing me out to your YouTube channel, and I hope we can like guide students and other people, those who are having some kind of a product idea in their mind, but they failed at the execution because they don't know the tech support. Because tech is
Right.
something which you really required at this time to build any great product. So yeah, we can just start, and yeah, you can just go on and shoot me the questions. I'm ready to answer.
Oh, I have a lot of questions for you, Garvit. But before that, I would like to share that Garvit is being humble right now. He has worked on a lot of project, and I have seen his like the kind of work he has done now. And at that point of time when he showed me all his work, I was like, why am I even coding? To build websites when I can do all these things without even writing a single like line of code. So that kind of things you can build with no code tools, and you can check out Calm Sleep and all the website, all the things, all the elements which are available on that website is built using no code tools with some tweaks of coding stuff for implementing some features. But other than that, all these things are completely built on Webflow. Correct me if I'm wrong, Garvit, right? Yeah. Yeah. So my first question is, as I'm trying to keep this video, this live stream as beginner friendly as possible, so my first question will be, what are no code tools and how they're different from coding tools?
So no code itself means you don't require to code anything. So when you start a journey, like I will go in a simple technical way. Everybody is aware of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript tech stack, right? So no code is not just it's coming into picture from past 1 or 2 years. No, WordPress has been doing the things from past long different of मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा दिन हो गया WordPress को no code system आए हुए. And when I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I know I was in class 10. I moved into class 11th. I built my first product, and it was completely on no code. So
Oh,
I
wow.
built that entire edtech product on no code only. So that was the achievement. I have been knowing no code and power of no code community, and how no code tools are very much efficient building a great product. Even though, like you said, you can build complete e-commerce website on no code, but you need to know how to start with. So basically, the name itself suggests no code means you don't need to do anything coding. You don't need to code even a single line, if I would say very much precisely.
Right.
So the thing is how these tools are different from coding tools. So when you go into coding stuff, like let me just start with the example of website development.
Hmm.
So user just start with learning HTML, then goes with styling, doing CSS, and giving functionality to it with JavaScript. So
Right.
what we do in no code tool is like you will getting a complete builder format. You just need to drag and drop the element. So if you want to create a div block, you don't need to just write the div tag and then style it using CSS. Just drag a div block, go on the styling panel, change margin, padding, text wrapping. You want to make it flex box, make it flex direction, everything. So everything is just, it's like in a short word, I can say you are doing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript,
Hmm.
but in a visualization format. Like I can say you just need to, like, it's basically a gamified version of coding
True.
that builds a no code tool. So when we gamified coding, no code tools are built up. So it's a lot. We can say like it's simply like that. So you might have
Hmm.
aware of the CRM tools like the SaaS product that company is like, and let us make it more beginner friendly. Everybody is receiving email these days. Okay, whole
Yeah.
email, everybody is receiving key, this sale, that sale, and everything. So before it was trend, like people used to code all those things in HTML. Now there are no code HTML tool builders, email builders, jahan pe you drag and drop your email content, design it, style it, integrate it with Mailchimp. I am not promoting any brand, but it's like very famous Mailchimp tool
Yeah.
which is used for sending email. So integrate it with Mailchimp, drag and drop your data from Google Sheet and mail send. Within a single minute, 10,000 people you can shoot a mail at Symmetry. So this is the power of no code. If you have to do
Hmm.
this thing in coding way, you will be designing the complete infrastructure, going to any cloud services, Amazon, S3 or Heroku, whatever, anything. I guess you are more like into technical stuff, so you can guide better.
Yeah.
And there you need to run on a virtual machine. You need to upload the data manually, and then these things are gonna go.
Hmm.
No code in no code tools, just 10 hours ka work you can do in 2 hours. So it's like a efficiency converter. You can say 2x your work
True.
efficiency. And in today's world, time is money. When you're saving time, you are saving money. So yeah, it's all about the no code.
Yeah, I think you have summed up really well that it's kind of a gamified version of how we usually do website development. And it's like hats off to the developers of these no code tools who have built
Surely.
such a
And to
great
be very
tools.
honest, there are people like you only that are building no code. So that people like me don't know even a C of a coding can come develop such a great beautiful website, and like हमारी भी earning कुछ कुछ चलती रहे. So ऐसा
And thank you so much, Garvit. But yeah, like just to narrow it down the discussion, no code tools are all the tools. Like Excel is also can be considered as a no code tool because we are not using coding in like in Excel or PowerPoint or any other tool where no coding is required. But in today's session, we are going to really target about the designing tools, designing not no code tools, and the development no code tools, right? Because for website development you have to first design it and then you have to proceed with the development part. So we are not targeting here about all the non code tools that are available in the market, but specifically which are related to designing and development.
and
Yeah.
you brought up the point of MS Excel. So you might have seen that certificates that people get after attending any workshop.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
first thing was like when I was a student, so we need to do that coding in Python. So I don't know about how no code was working at that time. So it's like
Hmm.
3 years back thing. But when I got to know the power of no code tool, so everything can be done in MS Excel. You just design a email template on a PowerPoint. There is one extension called as AutoCrat in MS Excel, and you can just integrate that thing, map accordingly, and everything is done.
Oh
So
man.
any entries you are getting, it will be creating n number of certificates, just changing that name. So this is the power of no code. So yeah, if 10 minutes of time, why shouldn't I go and write a
Right.
long lines of code and just get it?
That's true. That's true. The like the power of the like all the tools, the software tools that we have is so huge. Like I consider it so like magical sometimes that how they are able to save a lot of time, such precious time of our day. And yeah, hats off to all the developers and designers like you who are building such products. So moving on to the next question. So my next question is, I have seen that many of the startups are moving from coding culture to non-coding culture, like for basic products where big features are not required and big back-end integrations are not required. They are mostly targeting no code tools because they're easy to build. So like for starters, the main intention is to build your product first and then move ahead with the features and development part. So like, this is my perspective, and you can share yours. So I believe that startups are using no code tools because they want to deliver something at first, so they proceed with the no code tools. But I want to ask you how scalable it is. Like, it is it necessary to move your website from no code like website to a properly functional website in future, or is it like scalable with no code tools also?
So got your question. So first of
Yeah.
all, talking about the startup culture and communities. So the thing is, when you are building any particular product, so it's all about delivering something at first move.
Hmm.
So there is one term called MVP, minimal available product. So that is the product that you build at an instant. So when you are going for a coding background or setting up an entire technical team, there are two factors. You are running a startup, you need to look at all those aspects. If you are a co-founder or a founder or a CEO, आपको सब कुछ देखना होता है, from marketing to designing to development to growth to tech, everything. I have been the part of community, so I know it very well. Second thing is, you don't have that much of budget at an instant so that you can pay out the developers over there. So hiring two people for developing a website on React, backend on Node, everything will cost you 1 lakh. If you can hire a Webflow developer or any other no-code developer, he can build the same in less number of time in, and a good product. Like, I'm not saying it won't be a skill, a good product in less number of time and with more efficiency of money you can use on. So if you are
Hmm.
putting 1 lakh there, 50,000 way, you are good to go with your product. So these are the two factors. Second thing that you talked about is scalability. So let me just give my example.
Hmm.
So like Calm Sleep, you might have seen the website. So
Right.
complete website is built on no. Even now we have introduced the feature of playing sounds on web only. मतलब आप Calm Sleep के website पे you can stream just like Spotify. So that function if we can build with no code, then why can't people say like it's not scalable? The
True.
entire thing, entire e-commerce place, you can build on Webflow, Shopify. There are n number of things. WordPress, WooCommerce is a
Hmm.
plugin. It's really very great. So you can build a complete e-commerce website. So I don't think there is as much as technical than e-commerce like that you are going to build on any particular website. So I think e-commerce is the greatest extent that people can think of as scalability. Apart from that, like I've been consulting one more startup named as Yara. So it's a UK based startup. So there
Hmm.
also I consult about the product and they're also working on Wipro. So at there, we are implementing payment gateways in no code too. So it's like just a simple thing from PayPal or any other payment link that you are using on Stripe or PayPal. We are just copying the JavaScript or SDK tool, implementing it directly to Webflow. And Webflow also provide the direct interaction with PayPal or Stripe. So payment gateway, everything can be done just even without writing a single line of code,
Hmm.
without managing a huge database in MongoDB, MySQL, or anything that you guys say about. So yeah, it's all about the thing that you are doing in short period of time. That's why startups are loving it, and
Right.
not even startups, like a big MNCs these days, as far as I have heard and researched about it, they are also shifting to no code and low code. Like, see, when you are building everything from scratch, coding everything, so you
Hmm.
need to think of various perspectives. Like, आपके कोड में कभी bug ना आ जाए.
True.
There should not be anything that you guys are missing it out. So lots of various perspectives are there. But when you are on no code tool, you don't need to do anything. It's just a gamified platform. Drag and drop databases managed by no code environment only. So everything is good to go. And if you talk about the scalability, your last question, it is scalable, completely scalable and 100% scalable. Like if you can build a complete e-commerce on no code, then you
Right.
can build anything. I gave you the example of Shopify, I gave you the example of Yara, like we are implementing payment gateway, and I gave you the example of Calmsleep, how we are streaming music.
True.
Even more feature on Calmsleep, the music that are logged, so when you will click on that logged music, it will give you a pop-up. So entire thing is done on a no-code basis. We have built complete our database on Airtable that is integrated with Zapier. Zapier is a tool that used to automate other platforms. And with Zapier automation, we are executing. So there is 2 or 3 funnels of no-code tool involved, but
Hmm.
everything no-code, we haven't done even a single line of code. So yeah,
That's
it's
great. That's great. And I really like how you explained it and how you put it in short terms, so that every viewer who is listening to us right now will be able to understand what we are talking about. But one follow-up question for you, Garvit. So you mentioned that in Webflow you have that integration of PayPal and other payment gateways. So like for example, when you build any software using coding or any tech stacks, you make a decision that on what tech stack you should move forward, right? So is there any comparison between no code tools also that you should take care before starting with it? Like okay, I want to implement payment gateway, so I should use Webflow instead of Wix or any other no code tool, or how that kind of discussion goes on in no code environment?
I completely got your question. So, as far as I can understand, your question is all about like when we are going to coding infrastructure.
Hmm.
After a time, if we feels like we need to expand, we shift from some different tech stack to any different tech
Yeah.
stack. If we are using React, we move on to Angular or Vue, anything, n number of tech stack.
Right.
So yeah, similarly, no code tool is like there is nothing as such. The thing is, each and every no code platform provides all the possible integration. Okay, the thing is like there is no difference between React, Angular, or Vue. The basis is JavaScript only. No, the
True.
writing way might be changed. So the way of integrating the stuffs on different platform will be changed, but the logic of implementation will be same. So there is nothing as such like if you are starting, if you are thinking to make an e-commerce, you should go with Wipro. No, there is nothing as such. You can go with Shopify, you can go with WordPress, WooCommerce, you
Hmm.
can go with Wix also. So there are all those no-code platforms that are present. All the platforms give you all the flexibilities and everything. It depends on you how you utilize that, how you leverage that, and how you technically like see when I talk about no code, a lot of people think, okay, I'm from a commerce background or I am from a arts background. I can also try no code. Yeah, you can try no code, but the thing is, you should be knowing little bit of technical aspects
True.
of how things are built. Because unless you aren't knowing any technical specs, you can't go into that. Na. Like I don't know
Hmm.
how to ride a motorcycle, but I'm thinking to ride a car. So it's like completely different things, no?
Right.
I don't know how to ride a bicycle, but I'm planning to ride a Apache RTR and R15, like all these big motorcycles you can see. It's completely illogical. No? You need to understand basics of the dynamics, how we manage the handle, how we do each and everything. So
Right.
similarly, it goes on to this technical portion also. So it's not that if you need to build any payment gateway kind of a thing, you can't do with WordPress, you can't do with any other platform. You
Hmm.
can, but you need to explore how feasible it is with that platform.
Right.
So in short word, feasibility matters before starting. If you think, if you research, yeah, I want to build a payment gateway with PayPal and its integration is available in Webflow. Okay, so
Hmm.
I want to build this Stripe, it's available in WordPress. I will go with WordPress. So it's depend upon the feasibility that each and every
True.
platform. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, yeah, completely. So just to sum up, like in technical perspective, we take the all the user requirement and then we map it to the correct tech stack and the kind of scalability and feasibility we want. And in no code tools, it's the same thing. We first have to gather all the requirements and then we have to see those requirement which requirement is mapped to which no code tool and then move forward with that particular tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you summed up really well. My next question is for everyone who have understood the power of no code tool for now, by listening all our talk for a while. What are some of the most basic tools, no code tools, which even a beginner can start with?
Okay. So see, no code platforms are like huge, I can say. Matlab, everybody is like moving towards no code. And
Right.
as customers are moving, new platforms are being created. So when I started, I know about Wix and WordPress. Then later I came to know about Webflow. Then later I came to know about EditorX, Velo, Software. Then when I moved to app development, and recently I was shocked to know one thing. I just explored one platform. It's known as Data. So entire Flutter application you can just build by dragging and dropping, designing with no code stuff in
Hmm.
Data. And even though more shocking is you can create entire database also in Data. And after creating everything, they just charge about few dollars. You can export that code if you want to go for coding. Otherwise, you can manage everything.
Oh
So that's
man.
the power of no code. There is one also tool called bubble.io that is also used to build mobile application on a no code basis only. So when you're starting with no code, I would first of all suggest you just to go with the few user friendly tools. In user friendly tools, I can count WordPress, I can count Webflow, I can count Wix. So there are two perspectives. So if you are from a technical background, go with WordPress. WordPress has good CMS. You can manage CMS. If you are a PHP guy, you can write custom coding. You can do custom code your CMS on WordPress. If you are kind of a designer, you want to make sure like your product looks really very fascinating with all those kind of interaction and animation that you see, like when you scroll the website, things are passing this way and lots of stuff. So I would prefer to go with Webflow because Webflow is being the tool that I have been using from past 1.5 to 2 years. So from a designing background, Webflow is like something really very great for you. You can also do custom coding in Webflow. It's very much possible. And I
Hmm.
also do sometimes when I used to implement few things. Recently, like in past month, we implemented one thing on Calm. It was a 2 minutes concentrating timer. So the logic was like when the timer starts, even you move your mouse, the timer stops and it will say you got distracted, restart time. So the entire thing was completely built on no code, but timer ka logic was custom coded. I used the jQuery thanks to Stack Overflow and the development community over there helping people how to go about. Like I simply typed the question like I want to do this, got into Stack Overflow, read few different answers by great developers like you, and just copied the code, used it. My product was done. So I was very happy. So these things you can do it on no code. So I would say if you are from a designing centric, go with Wix or a Webflow because these two tools have great efficiency for designer. And there
Hmm.
is one good platform also, EditorX, that is acquired by Wix only. So that is also great too. And if you're from a technical perspective, so you can go with WordPress, Shopify if you want to go into e-commerce and all everything. So
Hmm.
WordPress, Shopify, then again Webflow is like evergreen tool, e-commerce, website, and all everything. So these are the 3 4 tools you can start with. Later on, if you feel like कि नहीं यार, I need to implement more stuff, I need to automate my Instagram post with my website, or I need to automate my website with Instagram. So you might have seen of many websites that are showing live updates about their social media.
Right.
So you
Hmm.
can also automate that. There is nothing. Go with Zapier, make one Zap. When I post anything new on Instagram, do post to Webflow. Map that field. Whenever you post anything on Instagram, that will be reflected live on your website.
This
Webflow
is really
or anything.
interesting.
Zapier provide more than 2000 plus integration. Apart from that, there is one tool called Zoho. So everybody might be aware of that.
Hmm.
Or
Yep.
CRM. That is also completely a no-code tool. You can do email marketing, email campaigns. So these are the next level tool, but you ask for a beginner friendly just to step into no-code. If you are from a designing centric background, I am
Hmm.
repeating for designers,
Hmm.
Webflow, EditorX, or Wix, it's good to go. I have used it. I have a good experience on these platforms. And if you are from a technical perspective, you need to deep dive into tech. You need to create your custom backend and all. Go with WordPress, go with Shopify. You can come to Webflow also. So it's good. I'm not promoting any brand to be very honest.
No, not at all.
The
Yeah.
tools that are available in market.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that for designers, XYZ are the tools, and for developers, ABC were the tools. Now I have to ask this question: where Figma lies? Like what I've heard so far is Figma is for designers, right? And you mentioned for designers you can use Webflow. So as
The
far as
key
I know, Figma is not for development. Like you can just
is in your
design your complete website, and it can be kind of a prototype which you're going to implement and develop your complete product. So on that perspective, what are all the tools that people can use similar, which are similar to Figma for designing?
Okay, see. So if I talk about UI and UX, you might be aware of that term, and everybody might be aware of that term, user
Hmm.
interface or user experience design. That is
Hmm.
the initial level of being a product designer, UI UX designer. So when you are a UI UX designer, your job is just to design the things, how things are gonna look like. So if you are designing any website, you don't just directly jump onto the webflow. You just make its lookout and structuring everything in Figma. So there is Figma is like popular tool. It's open source tool. There are a lot of more tools like Sketch is there. It's very popular software. Adobe XD is good, way more greater than like if you want to do hybrid prototyping and all those stuff. So Figma, Sketch, and Webflow, these are like very popular tools and software. And to be very honest, there is one tool I guess everybody might have heard of, but don't realize that power, Notion. Even
Yeah.
though you can build website in Notion. So that is the power of Notion. You just know how to do this, but you can build a website in Notion. And
And and Garvit, how can I enroll in that course? Are you are you doing the course that I
but
am going to
not doing
enroll
that.
in it?
But yeah, I can forward you the resources. I can put those resources down in the description so that
Yep.
the student, those who are watching it, can go through it. Like people are using Notion on a day-to-day daily life for collaborating. But you can also do some of the pretty crazy stuff with Notion also. So I just took the name. So yeah, let me go back to the previous question.
Yep.
So people can start if you want to start your design career. People can start with Figma. It's a good designing tool. It's easy to use. User interface is quite easy. Adobe XD is also there if you want to invest some amount. If you are from like getting some funds from your family, invest in Adobe XD. It's pretty good. Sketch is also good. Now design part is done. Now when it comes to prototyping, so Figma, Adobe XD, and Sketch, all these three tools provide inbuilt prototype. But
Okay.
you are trying to build a very complex application in which there are like 100 to 200 screens. So if you are doing that in Figma, it will be creating a lot of mess. If you are doing in Adobe XD, it will be creating a lot of mess. So there are tools like InVision Studio, ProtoPie, Marvel. So these tools are like prototyping. So there are three phases of a product. First phase is ideation phase. So when you are ideating any particular product. Second thing is after ideation, it goes to the designers and researchers. They do the market research that are called UX researcher and UI designer that designs the UI according to the research submitted by a UX designer. After that, it goes for a prototyping. So prototyping is done. Then after prototyping, it goes to developers like you so that you can understand the entire flow from what point user is coming to an app, how it's navigating, इस
Hmm.
button को click करने पे क्या होगा, what will be the effect after this button, how will be motion. So everything like when you are talking about interaction design and motion graphics, so these are like completely different stuff that are done in Adobe After Effects and then transformed into InVision Studio. So these are 3 to 4 things, but for beginners, they can start with Figma. Figma is a good tool. I use Figma daily basis on a daily basis. When I need to do any higher stuff, I go with Adobe XD or like Figma is good to go to. It's like I can say it's like a thing that you kept on in a pocket. So when I open my Windows, Figma is always open. So whenever like see my desktop, I have Figma open in background. So continuously the things are going on. So yeah,
So
like
another difference between coding culture and non-coding culture. In our case, our window is completely full with Stack Overflow questions, Stack
Stack
Overflow tabs,
Overflow,
or
VS Code,
any other
Intelligence,
Google search. Yeah, and in your case, it will be like Figma and other
Deloitte,
designing tools.
Finance, Figma, Adobe XD, all these stuff are open.
Yeah. So now moving on to the next question, which is a really important question for all of us. Like normally for big MNCs interview questions, they generally asked about coding questions like DSA, data structures and algorithm, and all these stuff, which are mostly oriented to coding, programming, or all these things, right? But if you want to develop your career in this domain, no code development domain, what kind of interview we can expect, and what should we like prepare, and what are the resources?
Okay, so I think I am eligible to answer that question. I have
Yep.
for 2 or 3 people for me. So the thing is कि anything when you start your career on, when you jump start or learning anything, you are like वो सभी का होता है. I need to think for a longer term goal. I'm not doing this for a short term basis. So when I started no code, I wasn't thinking कि I need to do this for a short term. I was thinking like नहीं यार, I need to now start with no code, build something for the community, explore, help people around no code, leverage the power of no code and everything. So when I just started with no code, so it was through a referral. I got in touch with Ankur Variku, then started working on, and we started like this platform to go on and everything. But for you, if any beginner starting, the first thing is a recruiter will look for is your portfolio. He will just simply ask, bro, give me the list of websites that you have built using no code and what are the no code tools. This is the first thing on which you will be assessed. So if your portfolio is strong, 50% game you won at that. Second thing come is like you are giving an interview for a web developer. So I would be like asking you question related to web. So my particularly the question would be like if suppose I am interviewing, I would simply ask you, ki, what is the function of these things, or if you want to make a page that shouldn't be indexed in Google, what should you do in web? So these are the basic functionalities, like we need to mark that page so that crawlers can not read those pages. So there is robot.txt file that need to submit to Google Search Console. So for every page, we think that these things shouldn't be mapped into search engine. We need to submit the site XML files and robot.txt. Or a simpler thing is there is one code that you can paste in head tag, and it wouldn't like feature your website. But that is the coding perspective. I'm talking about no. So these things I will be talking about. Second thing I will be talking about is what every people need in today's world is organic. So how you are familiar with SEO of the webflow, how you are familiar with doing SEO on WordPress, because at end we are building a product, we need to look for the organic traffic. So SEO plays an important role, search engine optimization. How good is your search or brand visibility? Then few things I can ask about, like how would you do these things, or if you need to create this interaction, how you are gonna do. Tell me about this. If you need to implement payment gateway, where would you copy the code? How would you paste your div block? And even though the thing is like in Webflow or any other no code tool, वहां पर भी we play around classes that you do in your coding. You name class and you do the stuff so that if you need to change anything in future, you just change to the class. It's reflected across entire website. No, so same thing when I'm creating webflow. So suppose that I named a class h2 white. So after creating a class h2 white, throughout the website, at whatever place I have used h2 website ka class, if I need to change that color from white to black, I will be just changing at one place. It will be reflected
Right.
across all the websites. So this is the efficiency. So we generally ask like, how would you make things more efficient? How would you rename your class? How will be your like hierarchy? Like when you will creating a div, then container, then section, in section, how will you like styling the stuff? So these all kind of the basic question that we are good to go with, like for a beginner who are just stepping into it. And when you are like being experienced after having 1 or 2 years of experience, your portfolio is everything. You just shoot your portfolio, bro. See, like I have cracked these many things. I have built 50 different
Yeah.
websites in past 2 years. You can see it out and you can assess. So these are the things. Like, and sometimes like I have seen many companies write in their like job proposal or the things that they give the description that you people call like in coding. No, so there is things you must have 10 years of experience in this. You know how to work with J2 environment or Java infrastructure or Hibernate, all those stuff. So usme people write you should be knowing basics of HTML, CSS, and JS. Jahan pe they need to implement something kind of a coding or little bit coding is required. That I talked you about the example of that rest for 2 minutes of the feature that we implemented in Calm or
Yeah.
the other stuff. So they generally ask like if you have any prior experience with Zapier or any other no code automation platform. So these things people can ask. If you say yeah, I have, then questions like a bunch of question on that thing. So yeah, it's about
Okay.
that for a beginner.
Yeah, so just to sum up, so in coding, we have like interview rounds on how well you are with the programming languages and
That
how
is
well you are with tech stack. And
exactly.
similarly, like non-coding type of jobs,
Interview. Yeah.
yeah, type of jobs. The basic questions that can be asked is on the tool and the tools that you have used and how well versed you are with those tools.
How
All
well
the fun,
with what
yeah,
are the technicalities behind the tool, little bit like if you need to do this, like आप लोगों को पूछा जाता होगा ना कोडिंग में कि यार I have seen like people solving that term competitive coding. तो आप एक
yeah,
problem होती है, you need to write that efficient solution for it. So
right.
similarly they will give you a problem statement like I need to do this, tell me about how you can do. So
Hmm.
little technical aspects. So yeah, it's like that.
Right. That's great. And how can we search these profiles? Like for coding, we have profiles like software development and web development or Android development. But what these kind of profile known as?
So it's just a simple. If you are starting with Webflow, you need to make your career as a webflow developer, just simply go to LinkedIn, a great platform. Thanks to people like you, building the entire thing. And just type webflow developer. N number of jobs will be carrying out. And to be very honest, I'm not degrading anything, or I'm not making anything on hype. But these days, no code developers are getting great salary. Like,
True.
people are literally earning for 40 hours a week. Like 40 hours a week, you can, like, it's a common work culture.
Mhm.
सारा day, week में 5 दिन, 40 hours a week, $10,000 yearly. It's
Okay.
equivalent to 22 to 25 lakhs. So if you, for a beginner, it's good
Hmm.
to go with that. No,
Very good to
for
go.
a no, for a no code, you are getting about 10 lakh. I recently like came across a job randomly. It got on my feed. We are hiring for a webflow developer. Salary range 12 lakh to 18 lakh.
Okay, that's a good point you mentioned. Like we can compare the salary packages of coding, like coders and
Yeah.
non-coders, right?
No,
Like
I am not saying anything like coding is bad, shift to no
no, no,
code,
not at all,
coding
not
is
at all.
bad, shift to
Yeah,
code. It's not that, like, I'm telling people, like, होता है ना कि यार, okay, ठीक है, I'm starting the thing, how much I
right.
can earn. So
True, true.
earning perspective, money perspective is the first motivation for any
For
person
sure.
to
Right.
work it out, because at end it's all about your बैंक में number आपके कितने पड़ रहे हैं.
True.
So it's pretty much clear. People used to say
Right.
I'm not doing it for money, I'm just enjoying my work. So यार वो एक ना होता है ना ज्ञान देने वाली चीज. So it's for that. But at end everybody knows. If your manager says, Rishta, this month I will be deducting 20% of your salary, how would you feel?
Of course, bad.
Of course, that. So
Yeah.
वो बोलने के लिए होता है. Like, if anybody asks me like, bro, how's your work? I said, bro, it's like completely fascinating. I enjoy. I don't work for money and all. वो बोलने के लिए रहता है. But the thing is, the first motivation is money. And when you know, यार, these are the possibilities, and
Hmm.
this much thing I can earn,
True.
it's completely great. And the second thing is, not even in corporate sector, if you're looking as a freelancer today, a good webflow developer, I can say an average webflow developer, charge around $50 to $60 per hour. So even if you work for
Banal.
$200, 200 into 80, 16,000 a day. Work for 20 days a month, 16 into 20, 3 lakh 20,000 per month. Calculate it yearly. I am not.
Yeah.
So it's an overall calculation that I am telling about. So when you
True.
will going on freelance, Upwork, Fiverr, you will see a lot of things when you are, if you are willing to go into freelance career, or if you want to go into professional kind of stuff, startups. So you can find jobs on LinkedIn, you can find jobs of Indeed, whatever tool you are familiar with, you can go with. If you want to, like, simply if you type Shopify developer, na, there are n number of roles that will be coming out on, like, building complete website on Shopify. If you are a webflow developer, if you type like I need to build something on webflow, so complete things can be done in Webflow. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, you can find out the job and all.
That's great. And thank you so much, Garvit, for mentioning that. And I completely agree. Yeah, stability is like
It's
really important for all of
for
us.
everyone. Like,
Yeah.
even though you are a businessman, even though you are a student, even though you are employing any corporate account, or even though if you are a startup or an entrepreneur, everybody looks for a stability. Like, how stable I am. A businessman thinks कि यार डेली का अगर 10,000 कमा रहे हैं तो वो यार 10,000 आना चाहिए. A day he gets 8,000, he just think यार what I have done, lots of tension. For a entrepreneur or for a startup, it's all about like how I can manage the team, how team can be stabilized. For people like us, like those who are working, we need to think of a particular stability, and the stability will be coming from when you are joining any particular organization. So you need to know like how will be I getting paid, what is the time that I am putting and the amount I am getting from. So these are all the perspectives that people can look around, and you can search job on LinkedIn, Indeed. Just type your favorite tech stack or a favorite, not tech stack, your favorite tool that
Tool.
you're familiar with. Wordflow, Webflow, WordPress, Spotify, software, everything. You will get jobs out.
You have simplified it a lot. So all you just need to do is to start using these tools, and if you want to start looking for jobs, just click, like, use the keyword which on which tool you are using, and you can use LinkedIn or even Google search also. You can just type that all the jobs which are available, and you can just apply on that. And one thing that Garvit mentioned and focused a lot on is your portfolio. And again, you can build your portfolio using no code tools.
And let me just make it a bit more simple. Like you might also know about your college days. You
Hmm,
were from IGG to a completely tech background. So when you built your CV, you gave the GitHub repo of the project that you built in your college.
right,
Okay. So at end, you are giving your portfolio or work to someone. No? So simply here also, like when you are making a CV for a webflow developer, write down the stuff at what organization I worked on, what things I built, give link to that. So obviously you are like increasing 10 times for being getting selected without a person, those who don't have portfolio.
right,
So like people doing coding background wale jaise log karte, like they give up the GitHub repo link, I built this thing, I built this thing. You can go and check this out on my GitHub. The code are there. Simply you can give the website the link. I have built this thing. These are the features I implemented.
hmm,
Further, if you want to know, check out this website. This is the second website, this second product that I built. These are the things, these are the
oh,
key points that I was looking about. These are the payment gateways. Try to bring in the things that you did actually for them. Give the link. So that is only your portfolio. So if you
that's
are
great.
making a
Yeah,
CV for initial webflow development or any no-code development platform, just you can go with this. I hope
that's
I just summed up a bit and narrow it down to a border.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
people might think, no, how I will make my CV, how I will make my resume and apply for any particular job, because every job requires a resume or CV. So yeah,
right.
these are the way that you can go.
Okay, so the key takeaways that I'm taking away, like for me, is first to have, you should have your portfolio if you are looking for building your career in no code development. Then you should start applying for jobs. You can use LinkedIn or any other platform. If you are looking for freelance work, you can use platforms like Upwork or Freelance, or there are a lot of websites you can directly search on Google and find such um, like platforms. And then you should have a very good command on those tools. You should know about all the things, complex things you can use, you can build or using such tools, so that you are like confident on that particular tool. You don't need to know every tool and every technology, but you can move with one tool which is kind of your areas of expertise, and then you can use it and move forward with that particular tool and make your career in that. So now my next question to you, Garvit, is about communities. I know that you are working on a community on, like, this particular domain, so I would like to tell you something about it.
Okay, so basically, like as Rishika told, I am working on my own community known as business. So the idea just originated from a point that there were a lot of communities for developers around the globe, and I want to do something for a from a design background. I want to do something for a designer community. So I just brought up the culture where designers and developers can come on a single platform, can collaborate together, work together. So in our community we are trying to keep every aspects of a designer. If you are a product designer, if you are creating lottie animation, if you are good with motion graphics, if you are a graphic designer, all these stuffs, and developers, like the popular tech stack for front end. Like for development, we are only focusing on front end. So in our community, you will be getting people from React, JS, Angular, Vue, Swift, Kotlin, Dart, and n number of things that are used to build front end. Like there were two or three more tech stack that I have one of the technical co-founders. So he just told me like Meteor, JS, and Electron. These two things are also a tool. I don't know about that, but he told me like we should include those things also in our community. So yeah, it's all about that, and in that also we are bringing up no code, and no code already has its vast community. So webflow has its vast community. If you go
Hmm.
on webflow website, you can join the community. They have college chapters, they have region specific chapters. You can join those chapters, leverage that community power. And even the main thing is, like when you are jumping into this community, no, you don't have to think about your career. People will approach you, give you the opportunity, like bro, if you are free, just do this work, get that things done. So this is the power of like community. And I personally know the power of community. Rishika personally know the power of
Yep.
community. So community is the stuff that have played a game changer for everyone, whether it's an individual, whether you are focusing on your personal brand, or whether you are building a startup. If you are
Right.
good to go with community, if you have cracked the community, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, like if you have cracked the distribution, if you have cracked the community, you have completely cracked 30 to 40% of the things. Because
Right.
when you are building anything, you want people to use it. तो जब बात आती है कि यार हमारा प्रोडक्ट यूज कौन करेगा, देन योर कम्युनिटी कम्स इनटू पिक्चर. You might know about a famous personality, Varun Maya. He just
Mm.
built a platform, Blue on Scenes, and his famous community, Avalon Meta. So everybody is famous. So there is the things like you can learn more about community, and I have been like helping no code community, designers community there also. I know the power. And the main important thing is that like when you are into these communities, you get to learn about each and every perspective. अभी क्या है कि
Right.
I am sitting here, I know about nearby stuff, but I don't know what is going in Amsterdam, what is going in North America, what is going in US, UK, every places. So when people from these places hop in, when you have a fruitful discussion, you know about this stuff. Okay, bro, I am doing this, I am doing this, I am taking this course from this thing. I am from Stanford Design School, I am from this design school. We are building this, we are doing that. So it's a
Right.
pretty diverse experience that you get about. And the second benefit you get is networking that you can leverage in future when you are going into anything for making your career. So yeah, it's all about my community business that I'm building on. So we have just started, but I am sure like if we get a support from you all, we are surely gonna make it big, and we can surely make up a whole holistic environment where developers and designers can come on, collaborate together, and we can plan a lot of different stuffs for the people there. Yeah, so it's all about that.
That's looks pretty interesting. Like, I'm looking forward for that community. We can all collaborate together to build coding plus non-coding related websites and design it, and just give all our ideas a reality picture, right? And yeah, I know the power of community, and you rightly said that it's all about networking. And but I feel is most of the time we lose opportunities because we are not aware about it.
Yeah,
And being a part of a community gives you that kind of awareness, that you're aware about all the kind of stuff which is happening in your domain. For example, in my case, I look forward all the new frameworks which are coming in. What are the benefits of those framework, how can we leverage them? And in your case, what are all the known no code tools which are coming in, and what are pros and cons of that particular tool? So all kind of like these kind of discussion come into picture when you are a part of a community. And when you are a part of a community where there are like-minded people, right? There are people who you can discuss things with, like, who know that what kind of things can be done using such tools which I am using or which they are using. So yeah, like community power is a big
and
deal.
the
Yeah.
main thing what I feel for a community is like if I am working alone,
Hmm.
and if I stuck at some particular place, I will go on Google, write the thing, get the solution, read it, implement it, didn't work. Again, moving back to Google, irritating.
Right.
When you are a part of a community, you just simply post a thing like, bro, I'm not getting into this. Matlab, shocked to see people are just like literally helping it out. Yeah, you can do this, check out this resource, check out this resource,
Right.
and first one or two will work for you. So this
Right.
is the power of community. Second thing is, yeah, in community now, people are like very much supportive. When you talk to any of your batchmate in your college, ki, bro, I am doing this, will you support me? In maximum cases, a bitter truth, but there is I don't say about it, but you can simply call it a kind of a competition. Every person consider you as his or her competitor. So he won't tell you the good things. Like, hota hai na, obviously it feels like, yeah, why should I tell him? If I'm gonna tell him, he will definitely go in front of me. But that's not the case with community. If you are looking for even the slightest thing, I can say the silliest thing, people are going to help you out with that. If you are looking for such a sharp or a great extent a solution, people are going to help you out on that. And
True.
there is no kind of an internal hatred or I can say a competition in the community. Its community is all about learning together, growing together, helping together.
Building together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree on that part. Like sometimes I also get overwhelmed with the kind of response we get in a community and the kind of support we get in a community. It feels so welcoming and so good to be a part of such group where people are ready to help each other and grow each other, use their expertise and build things together. Like if I'm coming from a coding background, if someone is coming from a designer background, then we can collaborate with each
Yeah.
other. Yeah, that is a very beautiful thing to see. And thank you so much for like starting that community, and I will wish you all the very best. And if you need any kind of support from my side,
Yeah,
I'll be
sure.
happy to have.
I will feel free to disturb you at any point of time if I will need any support.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So that's it for today's live. We have, I think, covered a lot of things. For beginners, we have gave a lot of pointers, a lot of takeaways that they can start with after this live session, and I hope this helped a lot of our viewers. So thank you so much, Karvit, again for
And
giving us your time.
great thanks to you for like hosting this session, because people are like posting session on how to crack interview, how to get and companies and all everything. But this was something a really different topic that you brought up. And thank you for Newton School for like supporting all these kind of initiative, because it like,
Yeah.
really gives us like motivation to do something. So it was a really great discussion talking about various perspectives, and the way you have selected, pinpointed those questions. And I was like completely happy to answer all those questions, because that are the things that you selected was a query. मतलब होता है, बहुत लोग मेरे से भी पूछते हैं कि भैया I need to start with it. What are the things needs to be followed? And the same
Right,
question that you ask, na, these are like common question of the people
right,
around it, like what are the tools, how I can start with, what are the different between these tools, how can I apply to jobs. So these are like common questions that people used to ask me. So thank you for like bringing in that question, and I hope I answered all those things with my expertise and my knowledge as far as I have gathered for being a part of no code industry and community for quite a long period of time. And yeah, it's a really great, and hope in future we can do something on product designing and design perspective
for
here.
sure.
Thing also, so happy to collaborate for that thing also. Yeah, thank you, and thank you to all the viewers, those who are like patiently listening to our talk for
Right,
more than 50 minutes. So a special thanks to them, because that are the real power of the community
right,
that we are talking about. These
right.
are the things जिनके वजह से आज हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. These are
True.
the people who are like supporting us, and in return it's our duty to give them
Give
something
back.
very productive, something very useful, so that कल को वो ये लाइव स्ट्रीम देख के जाए. मतलब मेरा एक ही पर्सपेक्टिव रहता है, व्हाट आई थिंक इज कि if you come and talk with me for half an hour, no, after you go from there at 32 minutes, it strikes your brain like, bro, I have learned something in this half an hour. This half an hour was very productive for me. So in
Right,
this session also, I tried to maintain that consistency. I tried to bring in those things. Like after watching 50 to 60 minutes of the session, people won't feel that they wasted their time over here. They should get something, and they should kickstart their journey in no code. And I am available for help at any point of time. You can drop my LinkedIn over the description. People can
right.
check out. And yeah, it was a really great session. And thank you for hosting such a great session.
Yeah, I'm going to link down all the resources that you shared and your contact details also, so that people can reach out to you. And yeah, thank you so much again for giving us your time, and thank you all the viewers who listen to us. So we will be closing this live, and thank you again.
Yeah, thank
Okay, bye.